The first rule of Hollowbrook was simple. When the woods went quiet, you went quiet too. No birds, no wind, no insects, just a sudden, unnatural hush that felt like the world holding its breath. Ivy Marrow stood on the edge of the blackthorn forest with rain soaking through her thrift store coat and her phone dying in her pocket, and she knew the hush was for her. It wasn't fear exactly, it was the old, familiar feeling of being unwanted, like the town itself had decided she didn't belong here. People stared when she walked past, whispers slid behind her like shadows, and even the sheriff's polite smile felt like a locked door. She had come back to bury her mother, to sell the ruined house on the hill, and to leave for good. But the moment the storm rolled in and the forest went silent, the plan cracked like thin ice. A narrow road cut through the trees toward the Marrow estate, a place locals called the Cursed House, in the same voice they used for sinkholes and graveyards. Ivy's headlights struggled against the thick rain as she drove, and then, without warning, something darted across the road. She slammed the brakes. The car skidded, tires screaming on wet pavement, and stopped inches from a figure in the beam of her lights. Not a deer, not a person either. A wolf too big, too tall, its fur black as oil, stared at her with eyes that looked almost human. The world stayed silent as if the storm itself had frozen. Ivy's hands shook on the steering wheel. She blinked once and the wolf was gone. Her car refused to start after that. The engine clicked, then died like it had been strangled. Ivy stepped out into the rain, breath fogging in the cold, and the smell hit her, pine, wet earth, and something sharper beneath it, like smoke and iron. She didn't want to walk, but the Marrow gate was visible up ahead, looming out of the darkness like ribs. She pulled her hood up and moved fast, boots slipping in mud, heart thudding hard enough to drown out the rain. That was when she felt it, the sensation of being watched from between the trees. Not a normal watch, a focused, hungry attention that made the back of her neck burn. The gate was half open, chains hanging like broken jewelry. Ivy pushed through and hurried up the winding drive toward the mansion, a hulking silhouette with dark windows and a single light burning faintly in the highest tower. Her mother's last letter had been soaked in weird hints and warnings, written in a trembling hand. Don't trust the town. Don't go into the West Wing. If he finds you first, you'll never be free. Ivy had read it a dozen times and still couldn't make sense of the he. She reached the front steps, fingers numb, and grabbed the iron door knocker, only to freeze when she saw fresh footprints in the slick stone. Bare feet, too large, leading away from the door and toward the side of the house. Ivy backed away, breath catching, and that was when the man appeared out of the rain like he'd been carved from it. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a black coat that didn't seem to absorb the water, he moved without hurry, a pale, dangerous gold that pinned Ivy in place. She should have screamed, should have run, but her body betrayed her with a strange pull deep in her chest, like something inside her recognized him. The air between them tightened, electric and heavy, and Ivy hated herself for the way her breath hitched when he stepped closer. The word pack hit her like a slap, dragging up childhood nightmares, claw marks on her bedroom window, her mother's frantic prayers, the way people in town avoided the woods after dark. Ivy's legs felt weak. She opened her mouth to demand the truth, but the first of the shadows stepped into the open, and moonlight flashed on teeth too sharp to be human. A second later, a hand shot out from the darkness and grabbed Ivy's wrist, yanking her backward toward the trees. She screamed, stumbling, and the man moved like a weapon being unsheathed, violent speed, lethal intent. His eyes flared gold, brighter than before, and when he spoke, his voice was no longer fully human. "Touch her again," he snarled, "and I'll tear out your throat." Ivy's heart slammed against her ribs as she realized two terrifying things at once. Monsters were real. And the most dangerous one was the man standing between her and the dark. The hand on her wrist tightened, dragging her closer to the forest, and the Alpha, because there was no other word for what he radiated, tilted his head as if listening to a command only he could hear. Then, with a cold certainty that made Ivy's blood run ice, he said, "They've come to claim what's mine." And the scratching began slow, deliberate on the mansion door behind her, as if something inside was trying to get out. Thank you for listening to Alpha King Romance. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more romantic supernatural stories.